As the Trump administration continues its efforts to stop the conflict in Ukraine, a major incident is threatening to make things all the more difficult. The Russians accusing the Ukrainians of launching a massive drone attack on a residence of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, this residence is located about two-thirds of the way between Moscow and St. Petersburg in a place called Novgorod, the Novgorod region. And the Russians are saying that in the night between the 28th and the 29th of December that Ukraine launched some 91 drones towards that place. The Russians say they took all of them down. There were no injuries, but they're also saying that there will be retaliation on the part of Russia, and also that they are rethinking, as they put it, their stance on Ukraine as those negotiations to end the conflict move forward. Now, the Ukrainians themselves are denying that any of this happened, saying that they did not attack this residence. In fact, the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky came out and accused the Russians of looking for a pretext to further attack Ukraine. All this comes as both the U.S. and Ukraine say that major progress has been made towards ending the conflict. This, of course, coming after that meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and the President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, saying about 90% of the way has been achieved so far. However, some thorny issues still remain. First and foremost, the question of possible territorial concessions on the part of Ukraine towards the Russians. The Ukrainians now saying that it is something that might be possible. However, Ukraine's president says that a referendum would have to be held in Ukraine, and for that referendum to be held, there needs to be a temporary ceasefire. However, the Russians are saying, as far as they are concerned, a temporary ceasefire is not possible. Fred Pleitgen, CNN, Berlin.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start off with saying, Call Halayim Lo Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Harakak Radash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and double honor to Zar, elder apostle, as well as her one Ban Yashar down here in the lines in the camp. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'll clock on Ban Yashar from the lines in the Yashar camp. And this is, we can label this as a Lions Den News and Prophecy. Here we go. It says, 2 Ezra 15:1, it says, Speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All right. So, one thing about it, two things for sure. We spoke about this on the lesson yesterday. I just hadn't had any hard evidence. It was just all speculation of a clip or video clip that I saw that was stating that apparently, allegedly, Ukraine uh, tried to pull off an attack on Vladimir Putin's residency. So I have an article that was yesterday when I did the lesson speaking on how um, the United States did their first attack on Venezuelan soil. So now in the next video is going to be is they have uh, uh, um, what's it call it? Russia just put some of their nuclear weapons on ready mode. Let me see. Hold on. Real quick. Okay, let me see. Okay, it says Russia puts Orshnik into firing mode after drone scare at his residence. See that? What is Orshnik? It's one of their missiles, okay? Let me find out for certain. Okay. It said the Orshik is a new intermediate range ballistic missile, nuclear capable, based on the RS-26 Rebzek ICBM, capable of carrying multiple warheads, reportedly six, with submunitions. All right, traveling at hypersonic speed over Mach 10 and maneuvering mid-flight, making it extremely difficult to intercept, and was used in combat in Ukraine in November 2024. All right, so the Orshnik missile is on ready mode right now. You see that? And it's nuclear capable. Not saying there's nukes in it, but it's nuclear capable. So, and if this really happened, you know, yeah, if it really went down like that, um, man, somebody's gonna have to pay. And Russia was like, yo, um, Russia was like, they're pissed. All right, let's go into the article real quick. It says Russia claims Ukraine attacked Putin's residence. It says Kremlin officials claim that Ukraine attacked Russian President Vladimir Putin's residence with more than 90 drones, all of which were shot down during an attack that carried into the early hours of Monday, December 29th morning. The New York Post reports. It says the claims were made by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. He hates Babylon. All right, who claimed that the Kremlin will now review its negotiation position to potentially end its nearly 4-year invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian president, because they were just about at peace talks, right? So-called peace talks that they were doing, but they're like they're gonna reevaluate that now because of this situation. All right, it says Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky denied the alleged attacks as a complete fabrication made as a justification for the retaliation strikes following his meeting with the President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago on Sunday, December 28th. It says Russia is at it again, using dangerous statements to undermine all achievements of our shared diplomatic efforts with President Trump's team. Yeah, like, but what does that have to do with Russia? You talking to Trump about what? Like, Russia needs to know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we in this here. It's what we want. We like, and they said they got to give up. They might as well give up Kiev. Give it up. Give up Ukraine. Because at one point in time, Russia said that's the only way that they're going to stop this war. Fucking damn. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right. So sorry about that. I always overflood the sink when I'm trying to throw out some meat for dinner. I had a pool in the kitchen real quick. But anyway, all right. So it says Russia is at it again, using dangerous statements to undermine all achievements of our shared diplomatic efforts with President Trump's team. Zelensky wrote on his X account, "We keep working together to bring peace closer. This alleged resident strike story is a complete fabrication intended to justify additional attacks against Ukraine, including Kyiv. as well as Russia's own refusal to take necessary steps to end the war. Right, because they don't want it under the terms that Trump and Zelensky is trying to put it under. That was the whole purpose of them going to war in the first place. So of course you're going to the negotiation table with Trump. You and Trump came up with a deal that they don't agree with. You see that? And the crazy part about it, here's the kicker though. If they anyway find out that um anybody supplied those drones to Ukraine to use at his residence of this alleged attack on his residence, oh, whoever supplied them gonna have hell to pay. They poking at the bear. You see that? It says it says typical lies. Furthermore, the Russians have already targeted Kyiv in the past, including the cabinet of ministers building. Ukraine does not take steps that can undermine diplomacy. It says, to the contrary, Russia always takes such steps. This is one of many different between us. It is critical that the world doesn't stay silent now. We cannot allow Russia to undermine the work on achieving a lasting peace. See, this is way deeper than Nino Brown though. See, it goes beyond because this this stems from the Cold War. Like, because you've got to understand, uh, Ukraine was once a part of the Soviet Union. So this is the whole purpose of the war. This is the whole purpose of the war. See that? To regain what the Soviet Union once had. And that's prophecy. That's going into Ezekiel 38. You see that? So, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know, they're trying to he's playing the whole diplomatic thing like America does. Speak as a lamb, but is a dragon. The whole Revelation 13. See that? It says Zelensky had previously revealed that the United States is currently offering a 15-year security guarantee as part of a plan to end Russia's year-long invasion. Following this meeting with Trump on Sunday and prior to reports of alleged strikes targeting Putin's residence on Monday, the Ukrainian president answered questions on WhatsApp regarding his meeting at Trump's resort and said he told the president that he'd like for the guarantee to extend up to 50 years. What do you mean? Protecting them from like what? So America stepping in, putting a cease to the war, and we're like, hey, y'all can't fight for 15 years because if you do, we're getting involved. It says it raised the issue with the president. I told him that our war is still going on, and it has been almost 15 years. Zelensky said. Therefore, we would really like the guarantee to be longer. I told him that we would very much like to consider the possibility of 30, 40 to 50 years, and that would be a historic decision by President Trump. Zelensky claimed that Trump said he would think about it and request during their meeting. I believe that the presence of international troops is a real security guarantee. It is a strength of, oh, so they're really asking America to step in, step in. Mm, they're asking them. Dang, that changes everything. They It says it is strengthening of the security guarantees that our partners are already offering us, he added. Trump claimed we have the making of a deal following his meeting with Zelensky on Sunday, but warned millions more people will be killed in the ongoing invasion by Russia if one isn't reached soon. Uh. Oh, Trump said he settled 8 wars. This is the most difficult one. It says I do believe that we have the making of a deal. It's good for Ukraine, good for everybody. Never, he doesn't say good for Russia at all. It just says good for everybody, good for Ukraine. That's why that's why Russia ain't dealing with it. It says Trump told reporters while standing next to Zelensky outside the entrance of his resort main dining room via the New York Post. There's nothing more important, he claimed. I saw 8 wars, and this is the most difficult one. Millions of this, oh, yes, boy, this man, he's so arrogant and prideful. It says millions of additional people will be killed, millions, and no one wants that. Trump added. It says the meeting was believed to be a sign of significant progress in the in negotiations of a peace deal. But you have one party that's not there. It really should be negotiation between. There could be a mediator, but negotiating between Ukraine and Russia. What the hell is America and Ukraine negotiating over? You see that? It says it says and Trump having previously said he'd only meet with Zelensky if he felt an agreement was close to being reached. The Ukrainian president shared an update on his X account Friday, December 26th morning, Friday morning, following the briefing from his top negotiator, Rustem Hermerov. Rustem Hermerov reported on his latest contacts with the American side, we are not losing a single day. We have agreed on a meeting at the highest level with President Trump in the near future. A lot can be decided before the new year. Glory to Ukraine, Zelensky wrote. Trump advisor Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, had previously met with the top negotiators from both Russia and Ukraine one weekend prior after several meetings during the past 2 months. A senior U.S. official described the ongoing negotiation between Yamorov and Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev as positive and constructive last week. We've gone as far as possible with the Russians and the Ukrainians. We've made more progress in the past 2 weeks than the last year. We want to push the ball into the goal. We're heading into the right direction, United States official added. But it don't sound like Russia agrees with any of this stuff. And then plus like a the whole security thing, man. The whole security thing. Like what does that entail? Like 30 years of security, meaning they're gonna have like troops everywhere, so this won't be possible to happen again. That's man, that says a lot. So America's willing to defend Ukraine at all costs, to putting boots on the ground as a way of protection. But the scripture has it otherwise. It's gonna be it's gonna be Ukraine. I mean Russia putting boots on the ground, well putting missiles on them. Them boots is talking about missiles to come against this place, man. Babylon the Great. All right, so yeah, be on the lookout for the next lesson I'm about to do in a few minutes probably after I cook something. um, involving those missiles being turned into active ready mode right after this alleged attack on Putin's residence. All right. Lord willing, this lesson to edify to serve the purpose for the hope of the elect, the ones who truly believe in the name Yahweh Shem Shai. The data like Sakal, Halayim, La Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Harakak Wadash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone, double honors to our elder apostle as well, Herwan Banyasha, all are down here in the line to the camp. Salutations to the Archimate of pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Shai. Shalom.